The story of American Pie revolves around a tight-knit group of four male high school seniors: Jim Levenstein, Kevin Myers, Oz Ostreicher, and Paul Finch, as they navigate the overwhelming anxieties, awkward encounters, and desperate attempts associated with losing their virginity before they graduate high school. The film opens just weeks before the senior prom, setting a definitive, high-stakes deadline. The catalyst for the entire story is a humiliating shared experience. The friends are caught discussing their sexual frustration by a popular girl who laughs at them, cementing their resolve. Kevin, the self-appointed ringleader and voice of logic, proposes a solemn pact: they must all lose their virginity by prom night. The four friends are distinct in their approaches and levels of desperation. Jim Levenstein is the neurotic, socially awkward, and instantly regrettable protagonist whose attempts at romance and sex are consistently the most spectacular failures, often rooted in a combination of bad luck, overthinking, and a fundamental lack of understanding about women. Kevin Myers is the practical, rule-following strategist who believes sex can be achieved through systematic study and preparation, symbolized by his attempt to follow a self-written, detailed Bible of rules. Chris, Oz Ostreicher is the jock of the group, known for his prowess on the lacrosse field, but surprisingly sensitive and inexperienced socially. His journey is about finding genuine connection rather than just achieving the pact's goal. Paul Finch is the self-proclaimed sophisticate who projects an air of deep, worldly knowledge and effortless cool, which is usually a facade hiding his true nervousness. His interest is surprisingly mature, and ultimately involves a much older woman. Lurking in the background is Steve Stifler, a loud, arrogant, and sexually experienced lacrosse star who often serves as the antagonist and comic foil. His frequent, vulgar presence highlights the immaturity the main four boys are trying to overcome. Jim is immediately the most aggressive, and least successful, pact member. His first attempt involves a nervous date with a random girl named Janice, which fails when he awkwardly tries to use a sex technique described in a book. Realizing his lack of experience is the core problem, Jim attempts to remedy it by watching pornographic videos, but he fails to get privacy, leading to a disastrous encounter with his understanding, yet excruciatingly embarrassing, father, Noah Levenstein. This familial tension reaches its peak in the film's iconic, titular scene. Attempting to mimic an act he saw in a video, Jim attempts to achieve climax with an apple pie, believing it is a harmless substitute. However, his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Levenstein, walk in at the precise, worst possible moment. The horrified, silent exchange, followed by Mrs. Levenstein's single, dry instruction to put the pie back, is Jim's lowest point of humiliation and perfectly encapsulates his inability to navigate sexual maturity. Jim's focus soon shifts to Nadia, a beautiful Czech exchange student who is staying with a host family. Nadia's European confidence intimidates Jim, and he enlists Stifler's help in an attempt to impress her. Stifler, ever the opportunist, convinces Jim to set up a hidden webcam to record his progress with Nadia. Jim attempts a public chat with her, which predictably descends into a panicked, frantic rush to disrobe and perform a premature, humiliating climax, an incident which Stifler secretly broadcasts to the entire school via the internet, turning Jim into a laughingstock. Kevin's storyline focuses on his relationship with his long-term girlfriend, Vicky Latham. They are deeply fond of each other, but the pressure of the pact and Kevin's rigid, analytical approach clash with Vicky's more emotional and uncertain feelings about the timing of their first sexual experience. Kevin, armed with his sex rulebook, tries to logically dissect how and when they should have sex, which only succeeds in making Vicky feel like a task to be completed. Their attempts are constantly interrupted by bad timing, technical issues, or their own nervousness. A major point of contention arises when Vicky finds Kevin's detailed rulebook and realizes his calculated approach, confirming her feeling that he is more concerned with the goal than with their shared connection. They ultimately share a beautiful, deeply emotional discussion about their future, their connection, and the weight of their first time. They decide that even if they don't have sex by prom night, their love is real. They resolve to attend the prom together, with the understanding that they will navigate their intimacy when they are both truly ready. Oz's path is arguably the most romantic. He doesn't want just sex, he wants a girlfriend. He falls for Heather, a soft-spoken, thoughtful girl from the school choir. To get close to her, the jock Oz endures the ridicule of his friends and joins the school choir. His initial motivation is purely tactical, but as he spends time with Heather, their relationship blossoms into something genuine. He finds himself caring more about her opinions and personality than the physical goal. Their dates are sweet and sincere, and they bond over their shared nervousness and mutual desire for a real relationship. Their physical relationship progresses slowly. On the night of the prom, Oz, having finally achieved the opportunity to be alone with Heather in an intimate setting, asks if she wants to have sex. Heather honestly replies that she is not ready yet, but that she really likes him. Oz, having matured beyond the terms of the pact, accepts her decision with tenderness and respect. For him, the pact has been fulfilled emotionally, even if not physically. They share a tender night that prioritizes connection over completion. Finch, the most outwardly confident of the group, maintains his air of European sophistication, claiming to be highly experienced. His actual fixation is less conventional. He harbors an obsession with Stifler's mom, who is introduced as a stunningly attractive, older woman. Throughout the movie, Finch makes veiled, dramatic statements about his sexual pursuits, dropping hints that he is about to secure a connection. He spends the evening of the prom alone, eschewing the party in favor of his mysterious plans. His storyline remains largely a mystery until the final scene of the film. The film culminates at the senior prom and the ensuing after-party hosted by Stifler. Jim manages to secure a prom date with Michelle Flaherty, the eccentric band geek he met earlier in the film. While Jim initially views Michelle as a last-minute ticket to achieving the pact, Michelle, surprisingly, reveals she is highly sexually experienced and offers to help him with his problem. Jim, however, is too nervous and focused on Nadia. Nadia, having seen Jim's public humiliation, is surprisingly compassionate. Jim, encouraged by his father's final piece of genuine, unawkward advice to be yourself, approaches Nadia again at the prom. This time, he is honest about his nervousness. However, Nadia is leaving the country the next day, and Jim's window closes. Jim's night ends back at Stifler's after-party, dejected but having gained a small measure of self-acceptance. He retreats to his car, only to be found by Michelle, who follows through on her earlier offer to initiate him, finally fulfilling the physical goal of the pact for Jim in a surprisingly sweet and private moment. Kevin and Vicky attend the prom, having resolved their differences. They enjoy the night as a genuine couple, sharing a dance and realizing their future together is more important than their high school deadline. They leave the prom together, emotionally closer than ever. Oz and Heather solidify their true bond. The film concludes with the graduation ceremony. The boys discuss who successfully completed the pact. Jim admits his success with Michelle. Kevin and Oz admit they did not achieve the physical goal, but have learned the value of a meaningful connection. Finally, the mysterious Finch is picked up from the graduation ceremony. His ride is a luxurious sports car driven by none other than Stifler's mom. With a knowing smirk, she tells him she's been waiting for him. They drive off together, confirming Finch's secret success and providing a final, unexpected punchline to the film's narrative. The film ends with the realization that, while the desperate pact provided the motivation, the true lessons the boys learned were about honesty, respect, genuine connection, and friendship, whether they lost their virginity or not. The focus shifts from the awkward rush to the mature acceptance of their individual paths into adulthood.